750,000 small businesses go out of business every year, and only 600,000 small businesses open up. I think we got a little crisis in this country. We need to get small business back. We need to get the small idea back. And what I want to prove to you today is that your first idea is never, and not your best idea. For me, it started when I was 12. I decided to have a paper route. You know, I needed a little more free time in the afternoon, so went to, I'm from Brooklyn, 539 Kings Highway, and you know, it's kind of busy in Brooklyn, a lot of apartment buildings, and I thought this would be a good enterprise for me to get started. I had already been working 2 years on this with all kinds of different odd jobs, and I was kind of ready to move up. So I decided to have my own little enterprise, and this paper route seemed kind of promising. I went to Avenue X in East 4th Street, where the paper route man had his little business set up, and I took my first route, 29 dailies and 34 Sundays. I was off to the races. In the window was a little sign that said, whoever opened up the most accounts this week, we get a box of candy bars. I was very excited about this because a box of candy bars was like winning a lottery ticket. I tell people all the time I saw the light at an early age. Unfortunately, it was a refrigerator light because we were starving constantly. We didn't have a lot of money. Money was very tight. So I was working a little bit with a purpose. Needed to get some food, needed to get some clothes. I started, really getting kind of focused in on opening up some accounts. I'm up and down, and my idea is I'm going to knock on every door in Brooklyn till I go win this box of candy bars. Well, after about a week, zip, nothing. So I go home, I tell my mother, I said, I knocked on this woman's door, and she told me she didn't want to tip me. There's this older lady, she seemed like she got the paper delivered because the papers were stacked up inside her door. And I said the paper was the same price if I got it delivered from the corner store, 8 cents for the Daily News. She said, yeah, but I got to tip you. I said, Mom, why do we have to live in this neighborhood? People are so cheap. We got to move to a better neighborhood. And that's when the aha moment, when it all began for me. My mother sat me down and said, Brandon, I'm going to teach you 2 most valuable lessons you're going to need to know if you're going to go further in business. Number 1, you got to stop selling. You got to start serving. You got to solve a problem. You got to stop thinking about what you're trying to do and understand what people need. And the other thing is you got to differentiate yourself. So, at 12, I'm knocking on more doors. I'm trying to figure it out. And sure enough, I go back. I got nothing. It's about 10:30 at night. And, my mother's favorite line is, you got to have balls. And I think, it's about having nerve. It's about having that edge and not giving up and just thinking big, playing the long game. So I decided I'm going to go back to that older woman's house. She was definitely well in her 70s. I'm going to convince her to buy the paper from me. I knock on that door. I said, Sonny, I told you I don't want to get the paper delivered. I said, ma'am, just 1 second. Do you realize what time it is? How are you coming to my house at this hour? I said, ma'am, I was concerned about something. I was thinking about you. If it's torrential downpour, snowstorm, heat wave, a woman such as yourself should not be out worrying about getting a newspaper. And if I bring you milk and bagels on Wednesday and Sunday, and I promise you I will bring you that newspaper by 7:30 a.m., rain, shine, snow, doesn't matter. I will be there. You would do that for me? I was concerned. I was thinking about you. That is so sweet of you. Thank you. Well, little did I know that this woman was the mayor. She knew everyone. And she turned me on to every one of her friends. Well, frankly, I was delivering more milk and bagels than I were newspapers. I went from those 29 dailies to 199 dailies and 234 Sundays. 2 boxes of candy bars. I hit a home run at home, and I was starting to rock. And I really learned my first valuable entrepreneurial lesson. First, your first idea is not your best idea. Number 2, you must, to really fill yourself, you have to forget yourself. And you have to listen to what the customer needs. It's not about what you're selling. You've got to solve a problem. So let me roll forward. It's 1994, June 19th. The Rangers, a hockey team in New York, had just won the Stanley Cup, comparable to when the Red Sox won their first championship and the Cubs won. And I had started Steiner Sports marketing. Things were a little rough. not necessarily, I'm on that Metro North train, and it was misery every day, trying to catch the train. My wife would always say, that train does not wait for you. You may want to get there a couple minutes early. I just always missed the train, and I'd be on the train, and people were eating, their shoes were off, phone, it's not working out for me, on that scheduling. My real new purpose was to buy a new car. I didn't have the balls to go home and tell my wife that I needed a car to drive into work, so I wasn't making that much money. I looked down, and my mom had just passed, so I was a little bit down, and I was trying to think of every which possible way to make a lot of money. Because sometimes I think with purpose, you want to find this ultimate way to maybe serve and solve, but sometimes it is just a money grab. Well, I looked down and I saw the Daily News again, except this time I had Mark Messier on the back page with this huge grin. He had just won the Stanley Cup, 54 years in waiting. And I immediately was thinking of every possible which way I could convert that into money. I chased Mark down. He was the captain of the Rangers, the 6th Stanley Cup, sister, brother, lawyer, accountant. I went everywhere and anywhere to try to sign Mark Messier. At the time, Steiner Sports marketing was just booking athletes. And that was my first idea, and it was a good one, but it wasn't my best one. And I was trying to find the what else, the what's next. And I knew that to be 17,000 people, that's the amount of people at Madison Square Garden, that would buy the back page of this newspaper signed by Mark. Finally, I found Mark, cut it my first collectible deal, and that's how we started Steiner Collectibles. And sure enough, we signed quite many thousands of those back pages of the Daily News. And to be honest with you, I started a company that's now in its 30th year because it was just a simple money grab. I just wanted to get off the goddamn train. And I did. I bought my first car from the proceeds from that project. But meanwhile, it was the beginning. It wasn't my first idea, which wasn't working out that well. Because I think that a lot of times we leave success on the table. You have a little success, and I think success sometimes gets in the way of more success. I've seen more successful people leave success on the table because of those two words. I'm good. Good job. Feeling good. But when you first have the best opportunity to have more success is when you have success. And for me, I had some success with the first company I started, but I wasn't willing to settle. I kept looking for the what else and what's next. And sometimes your adversity and sometimes those problems you have really are the ones that really open up bigger doors than you ever thought if you're willing to stick with the problem at hand. So I'm off to the races with Steiner Collectibles, doing pretty well, until my inventory manager, my warehouse manager, comes in my office and says, "Brandon, we got a problem." "What's the problem?" We're overstocked. We got too many autographed balls. I said, "We got balls." "Yeah, we got balls." I said, "Great. We got balls? I like the way that sounds. I'm going to do a billboard on the highway that says, 'We got balls.' And it's got a picture of all these balls." So we do the billboard, we do an ad, and "We got balls," and it's kind of catchy, kind of had a little ring to it. And sure enough, we start selling some balls. And the warehouse manager comes here, "Brandon, on that billboard, you had a lot of baseballs, but we have footballs, basketballs." I said, "So we got big balls too." I said, "Well, I'll do another ad, and I'll do a second billboard. We got balls, and we got big balls. And we can move some of the bigger balls because, after all, not everybody has just regular balls. Some people have big balls. And they'll want the big balls. And I think the big balls we could sell just as much as the small balls. We shouldn't just, we should be able to sell all the balls." And the funny thing is, and getting back to your first idea not being your best idea, because a lot of people would have been happy with just that. But again, going back to some of my thinking back with that older woman about thinking what they needed, I started realizing that, well, what were people doing with their balls? They needed a place to put their balls. And where you put your balls is really important. So I thought about this and I said, we got balls, we got big balls, and we got a place to put your balls. We developed a beautiful case. And that case was a place where you could put, especially if you had a Mickey Mantle ball, some of these special balls that you had that you wanted to protect, because a lot of people like to protect their balls. And you got to protect your balls. So in this particular case, I came up with a glass case, state of the art, and this actually sold for $19.99. But let me roll over a little bit, because your first idea is never your best idea. And back to this for a second. We had a cube. This is what we used to put our balls in. It cost about 62 cents. You put a ball in here. We'd sell this for $4.99. We're making money all day. And most people would have been happy with that success. But knowing how important it is to people where they put their balls, I wanted to do better. I wanted to think of something better. So we came up with this glass case. And this sold for $19.99. And there's a Mariano ball on there, as you can see. Then I started thinking about what it's again like. And I started thinking about that older woman. And I started thinking, one of the biggest problems that people have with their balls, they often can't read the signature. So I started thinking about this. Took a photo of the picture of whoever baseball this was. In this case, it's Mariano Rivera. Then I actually took some of the dirt from the actual field to make it really feel authentic. Because, you know, your balls want to be in the best possible place you could put them. So we put this in a case, and we call this a photo case. Now, what's great is that the customers are paying $19.99, up from $5. This was $39.99. I think we added about 60-cent cost to it. And we doubled the price, and customers are raving, thanking you. Why? Because we heard what they needed. We weren't selling only what we wanted to sell. And sure enough, we have that. I'm going to show you a quick video, because on the dirt on the bottom of the case led me to a couple other things of thinking about the what else, what's next. And again, your first idea is not your best idea. So we'll just go to a quick video here.
You know, business was tough. You know, recession hit, 2007, 8. We're really struggling, trying to come up with something nominal. And there's something about taking some of that dirt that those great players have touched and walked on and maybe having a little bit. And we see some of those greats. I mean, even going way back to Joe DiMaggio, but it's Lou Gehrig, it's Aaron Judge, it's Jeter, Mariano Rivera, A-Rod, all of them, all seem to have stopped to pick up a little dirt. I'm wondering, is it to help me promote my product, or is it that good luck charm? Maybe both, I'm not sure. But when I think about dirt, there's just something sexy about that dirt. There's something that brings you good luck, the karma of grabbing a little dirt, to savor and remember the moment. There's nothing we haven't thought of to bring the dirt and get our fans closer to the game.
From the dirt, we went to the grass. We lifted the grass off the field. We freeze-dried it, but who wouldn't want a little grass from their favorite field to be able to put on their desk? We took the bricks and sold thousands of bricks, sexy bricks. I mean, these bricks were from, you know, over 100 years old. These were really sexy bricks. And, you know, that led us to, you know, cutting up the bricks and selling the bricks. But I think that, you know, a very important lesson, you've probably heard this before, but everything great always usually starts with gratitude. I was writing Brian Cashman a thank you note for all the stuff he had done to help me with Yankee Steiner and all the different products and all the different players we were dealing with at Yankee Stadium. And I had my graphic designer do you saw the ballpark map on there, because, you know, you get to 100 million, we've sold over $50 million of dirt. The margins are unbelievable, but, you know, $29 pen or $39 coasters, that's a long way home to get to that number. And sure enough, I had my graphic people design a map with all the ballparks around the entire country for Brian's office, and I thought that was cool. And sure enough, I said, well, we have dirt from every ballpark. Let's put that on the map as well. And I realized the viscosity and the color was different. It was really unique, and it was cool. So on the note to Brian, I said, you know, thanks for everything you've done. I really appreciate it. The Yankees have been the best partner I could ever imagine. And by the way, here's a ballpark map. Now you have a little dirt on every team in your office. And it hit me. Boom. I was selling a product for $500. Dirt with a poster for $500, and we couldn't keep them in stock. Because your first idea is never your best idea. And the entrepreneur spirit and success should never, ever get in the way of more entrepreneur spirit and more success. And as I started rolling up dirt sales, as I started rolling up all these ballpark maps, Derek Jeter's 3,000 hit. Well, you got to know how many hits he had in each ballpark, and there's a little capsule of dirt from each one of those ballparks. The dirt sales started adding up, and sure enough, we went from maybe 50 SKUs to several hundred SKUs of all kinds of different dirt from all these different ballparks, grass from different ballparks, bricks from different ballparks, all starting from the ability to not let success be a deterrent to have more success, not willing to settle on just some success. I'll just close on this thing. I just never had an interest in being successful and just having a good little run. It never crossed my mind. It's not anything I ever wanted to do when I started my company. And it's something that I try to tell every young entrepreneur is you don't want to be successful. That's not why you get in the game. You want to be in the game to disrupt, to change, make a difference, and to be extraordinary and significant. To take the industry that you decide to go in and do something different and better than anyone's ever done it before. And that's what I had intended on for Steiner Sports and continue to do every day when I go to work, which is trying to think of the what's next, what else, and the next crazy concept that maybe will wow people, have some fun with it, something that's never been done before. Thank you.